Welcome one and all to the first episode of Primal Sports Center. We have an exciting lineup for you today, but first I need to tell you about Primal. Primal is going to be the cutting edge source for new news, new sports news, new talk shows. So our talk show today is all about sports. And I'm your executive producer, Peter. But our hosts are Dale and Kane. Dale Parham is a long-known sports enthusiast from Kingston College, as is Kane Watson. Kane Watson is a well-known national table tennis champion, sportsman overall. He's played in all the world championships, all the sports that can be named. And we're going to welcome our host to take over the show while we await our first guest. Over to you, Kane and Dale.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Paramount Sports Center. I'm one of your hosts, Kane Watson.
Yes, and welcome to Primal Sports. I'm your host, Dale Parham.
On the show today, for the first half an hour, we'll be talking about Champs Review. You know, Jamaica, we're big on athletics. We're known worldwide for all our athletic stars. So we're starting to talk where it all begins from. Boys and girls champs, big athletics competition held annually. On the show we have today, we have world-renowned sports reporter, sports analyst, my good friend, Mr. Hubert Lawrence. Nice to have you, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you very much. Your check is in the mail as usual. Thank you.
No.
Not quite hearing you.
Not quite hearing you, Hubert. A bit low.
Let's see. Maybe it's just as well. Okay, we got some more.
Oh, perfect. Your volume is in now. Yeah. So the start of the show, we'd like to talk about the safekeeping through the pandemic of champs and what that means for athletics on a whole and what it means for us getting back to normalization for sports and how big championships coming up. So take us through that, Hubert.
Yeah, champs earned its way back. Track and field earned its way back. And first of all, thanks for having me on the show. It's a real pleasure. Special thanks to my friend Joel Muyong, who's watching from some place in the world somewhere. Great to be on the show. Track and field earned its way back. Last year, the J3s with Warren Blake, he's Casey like you guys, put together a set of protocols for the safe return of sport. The government liked it, and then they approved a series of track meets put on by Bruce James, World Championship Athletics, to put on COVID compliant meets. You may have heard in Velocity Fest, 4 of them at JC on Ashland Stadium. Then they moved to the National Stadium. That's all 2020. And that demonstrated that track could come back COVID compliant. We get back to this year, season on, season off, season on, season off, season on. But throughout all that, there was a demonstration that track could be COVID compliant and could lead the way back for all of sport. And so now we are 2 weeks past championships. I spent my morning watching the second one of the Destiny Olympic series on the television, again, COVID compliant. And at Champs for the 5 days, had a bunch of guys called COVID compliance monitoring officers who, if you stop to talk to your friend, they said, keep your distance. If you had your mask on below your nose, they reminded you to put it back over your nose. If it was hanging under your chin, people don't get this one. Your chin is open to the air, stuff blows onto your chin, you put your mask down on your chin, and you draw the stuff back up into your nose and inhale it. If it's something that's not nice, that's now inside the system. So I never saw in 5 days anybody who, when spoken to by the COVID monitoring officer, they tried to buck the system.
Yeah. Even us watching on television, streaming, it was a well-run champs. Safe.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was a joy to watch. Not being in the stadium, as you know, we are every year. Lucky for you, you were there. But I mean, to see the guys go up there and compete on both sides, it's it's an amazing thing because, you know, athletics is a very high level at this stage in the world. It's
Nothing
like a
Jamaica,
mini Olympics for us.
there's nothing Jamaica does over 60 years that we do consistently as well as track and field. Nothing that we do in any sphere of life. And so when track came back with the COVID guidelines to bring sport back, the government listened because here was an important stakeholder willing to do the work to bring the thing back. One more important stat, Normal Champs has maybe 2,500 children competing, plus coaches and sometimes chaperones. Some teams have girls in their school. You have to have a chaperone to manage them when they come to championships. This year, about 1,000 children, plus their coaches. Before champs, they did COVID tests for all the people who compete and be operating in champs. 9 positives only. So it says that even at their schools, when they trained, that the schools were taking great care, Dale, to manage the protocols very, very carefully so that even when your child is training at school, they were safe as safe could be from the ravages of COVID-19. So that's an important stat as well.
Yeah, you have to give a big shout out to the schools. I mean, for the kids to be able to train, to come to champs, compete, and everybody healthy, the organizers, the schools, the principals, the coaches, the students themselves. I mean, you know, I can't tell being a student at that time how it'd be to not go to school every day, not be around my friends, the protocols, the guidance, with the maturity level.
And you've been to champs. You've seen what traffic is like out in the backfield, in the school bus back to wherever the school's camp is. So to manage that traffic down from 2,500 to 1,000, so there would always be distance enough between each athlete, each coach, each official to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
Magnificent job by everybody involved.
Okay, Hubert, I heard you mention 9 positive tests, right? How are they doing? Any?
I've not heard much, but because it is 9, Dale, you're able to contact trace.
Yeah.
And what we did here was that the testing authority was able to zero in on those people, those schools, and to go and help them manage whatever circumstances came out of the 9 positives. So you're in a much better situation than when you have no testing. People come in, you don't know where to look, where to start, how to operate. So because you did the testing before, and when we watch college track in the States, there's a lot of track on in collegiate track this weekend. Yeah. Those people have been tested twice during the week. So they can use a sterile bubble for the meet. All the officials, everybody tested twice.
Yeah.
Into a sterile bubble for the meet. Now, by comparison, in March, they had the European Indoor Track and Field Championships. And the British team alone had a lot of positives coming afterward. This is in Poland. The meet was in Poland.
Yeah.
So for Jamaica to have a bigger meet than the European Indoors, with so far no ramifications. Yeah. And that means because
that's tough for organizers. I mean, it's as I said, magnificent. Nothing short than magnificent. And that shows.
We like to say Jamaica is not a real place and only in Jamaica. Yeah. It does show that if you want, and I've got my 98 World Cup France shirt on, it does show that when we're ready, when we take the problem seriously, we can step to it and wrestle it down to the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hubert, let us go to the track now. How important was this meet for the Class 1 athletes in terms of scholarships and so forth? How valuable was this champs to the Class 1 athletes?
I think very important. I give talks to high school track teams and sport teams from time to time. And the last time I was doing that, I had to do some research. I went to UWI, and the cost of a UWI first degree now is about $1.4 million across the 4 years. You would take the same depending on what you study. College of Agriculture, about the same. Now, if you come from humble kitchen, and mommy is scrambling to get dinner,
Yeah. We
we're
know
not
much
talking
about that, yeah.
about dinner, then being good at track and field or football or table tennis and earning a scholarship is important for you and your family. That's your way out. That's your way up. And so for those class ones, I mean, and I had suggested that if they couldn't have a full champs, to have a mini champs, which would be class one boys on one side and class one girls and last year class two girls, that's about the same age group. Your six teams. And let the others stand by if we have a full champs to give those children a chance to line up scholarships. So you can get that $1.4 million off your parents' books.
Yeah.
We divide it by 4. That's a ton of money for people from humble kitchen, of which some of us home. I understand the thing perfectly. Yeah. When you go to those places, when you come to I'm from Spanish Town. If you go to places in Spanish Town, you can see these people need the scholarships. So it was great that those class ones, those outgoing class 2 girls had a chance to put down some numbers in a tournament, not just a fast time in a back race, but in a tournament as big as champs, under pressure, to show to the person offering the scholarship that we are working. If we come to your college, we will help you to achieve your goals, whether in the conference, indoors, outdoors, or at the nationals. And maybe some of us will become international class athletes who will always say, I went to Hubert College in some United States.
I myself was a recipient of a student athlete scholarship, so I understand fully where, get the opportunity. I mean, it's.
Ken, we know.
Yeah, have to be grateful.
That can make to someone whose mommy is scrambling to get put dinner together, much less dinner the next day. They worry about dinner the next day tomorrow.
Yeah. Over a 4-year period or a 3-year period to get a degree.
Yeah, that's so I think for the class ones in particular, and also for Jamaica, because the news is grim.
It shows hope.
And so for a week, to have your mind taken off of all the tough things in Jamaica, tough economy, health situation, scary, for you to be able to enjoy a week and watch your favorite team or athlete do their best, I think it also took the minds of Jamaicans off of those headlines, those negative headlines, those truthful negative headlines, and give them something to enjoy for the week. So I think champs on several levels was well worth having.
So touching, the breakdown of champs, the point standing now, I mean, on the girls' side, we have a dominance of Edwin Allen again, winning 7 straight titles. But what keynote on the girls' side, I mean, Edwin Allen winning 340, St. Jago amassing over 300 points again, 309, and Hydel High, I mean, coming up, new school, amassing over 300 points again, scoring 301.5. I mean, that shows how on the girls' side that the future is bright, and she's Edwin Allen dominate again. Hats off to Edwin Allen. Champs victory. I mean, star athletes like the twins, Tia and Tina Clayton. I mean, champion girl Akeelia Smith winning the triple jump. Looking forward to under 20 championships coming up, all of that. So starting off on the girls' side, I mean, break it down for us to see what these girls amass over a 5-day champ.
First of all, now you've got 3 teams over 300 points. I did not know, my friends, what the scores would be like with fewer teams at full strength. I began to theorize in my head that what you would get is the big teams with mammoth scores on both boys and girls side. And these numbers, 300, are a bit more normal than I expected. Third place, Hydel, Coach Corey Bennett. He'll tell you his team had just come to try to do their best, but he is one of the best at hiding great teams in plain sight. Hydel was not far from winning this title.
Yeah.
Even though they had some difficulties. So they put together a great team. Their captain, Gariel White, outgoing senior, wins the 4 hurdles in her last year at championships. medals in class 3, medals in class 2, never an individual gold medal. Wins the 4 hurdles and gets the bogey for her back. She's wearing the famous Heidel armband. Everybody wears the armband wins.
Yeah.
So I said, Coach Corey, how you pick these people? It's everyone who wears the armband wins at Heidel, and Gary is a fantastic young lady. St. Jago had a great team lined up to try to win champs in 2020. 2020.
Last year. Yeah.
COVID. Coach Kalanda Goburn, manager Jeffrey Gordon, Godfather, Liber, come back again with another great team and challenge the champions. It's a great champion. It's a great champion that knows how to win, and they challenge the champion. And Michael Dyke, this is a real story. He ran for Edinburgh as a student, went to GC Foster, went back to Frankfield, that's to say Maypen, Chapelton, and then up the hill. And Edinburgh is a big thing in Frankfield. The whole town is with Edinburgh's track team, and they do wonderfully well. Smith was fantastic. I thought that the Clayton twins brought some drama in the girls' class 200 meters.
That was some drama.
You run, tears in your eyes, winning, and come back and do the double, and everybody's crying. Everybody's crying because you wanted the quinella on Mommy's birthday, and everybody who has a mother, and that means everybody, can feel that pull their heartstrings. Edinburgh deep within the 100 all classes. 200, not so that 400, good at 815, good at sprint hurdles, good at 4 hurdles, good at long jump, high jump, good at all the relays. That depth, even though St. Jago is top class, that depth made you think that they would never get to grips with this light blue champion. And so on the girls' side, I think a worthy champion, had some early mishaps on day number 1, but the depth across classes and between classes brought them through. And when you listen to Coach Dyke, he reckons that if he crossed this year, if he got past this year, they would be able to build up some more. And again, let's look at champs. Edinburgh is on-campus boarding.
Yes, I mean, that there's a lot to school. I mean, I'd probably try and challenge I think it's a 13-year record.
If you can keep a sterile bubble there, maybe, well, Vertec won 15 straight. And so that's some way away. Vertec went through several different management teams, several different head coaches. But if I'm Edin Allen, I'm thinking, let's go 1s and 2s. Let's go 1 point at a time and try and get to 10. When we get to 10, we look up again and we try and go for more.
Okay, Hubert, how impressive was Javier Brown doing the double, the 4 hurdles double and the 4 flat, breaking the record in the 4 hurdles? I think this is the 4 and the 4 hurdles is probably the toughest event on the track. How impressive was that performance?
Let's be fair to the history. When he was in class 1, Jahil Hyde ran 49.48 2013 and 49.04 in 2014. The event was the open event, not broken down yet into class 1 and class 2. But when he did those performances, he was class 1. That's the real record. Having said that, this boy, Javier Brown, tall, leggy, coming from 8:15. Neil Harrison leaves KC, goes there, finds he has a speedball, gives him to former Calabar hurdles expert Kevin Price, and together they put this boy together. 45.75 for 400 in the Bossman, and then on top of that, 49.89 for 4 hurdles. And every time you saw him, when he'd gotten past people, he was thanking God off the gas. So there's more to give at 400 flat. There's more to give. He's tall. He is a nice young man, fast, strong, brave. He looks like Rai Benjamin.
Yes.
Yesterday, he has the body type where he's long enough that the hurdle offers him no barrier.
One to watch for the future, definitely.
I think that and he is coming good late in his champs career, which makes him leave the system with tread left on the tire. I like him, Dale. I think he's going to be big.
Yeah, he for me, he was the most outstanding at champs for me, based on the event and the difficulty, in terms of recovery and all of that. You know that the 400 alone is maybe the toughest track event, right? But I hear you touching a point, Hubert. And are we pushing some of our younger athletes too hard, too early? Because I've been doing the research and I've seen where majority of the athletes from class 3, they don't, the ones that do well in class 3, they don't make that transition into the class 1 and onwards. And the ones who don't do well early.
Yeah, this is on more on the male side than the female
yes,
side.
it's more on the male side. But also it's still the females, but a little bit less.
It's two separate things that we have to handle, but
Yeah.
appear to be one. Let's deal with the one about the class 3 winner. Sometimes it's just natural growth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody here is table tennis. We can look back to the names who I saw, great youngsters who are not playing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here now are two still playing now, still national caliber players, not some of those other guys. And they're people we know. So in everything, there's an interest issue as the person keeps going, and there's a physical growth thing. When I was in first form, I was third from the back of the line.
When I was in third form, same for me.
I was in the middle of the line because boys and girls grow past me. And some of it is that some of the children grow past the guys who won in class 3, the girls who won in class 3. Second of all, the people who always win may not want to put in the same work that got them to the front of the line because they used to win easily. And so when the other guy who wants to be good puts in the work, he catches up, covers this, what we call the talent gap, and goes ahead. And the other guy is living off what he did before and doesn't go anymore. So it's multi-layered. That's one. The other part, of course, is that in this season where the preparation is interrupted, you would have some people who came to champs not ready to run a meet where there's less rest because the meet is smaller. So if you have 2,000 normally and now 1,000 this year, if you do any doubles, you will have less turnaround time between the event you did before and the one that's coming up. And in the heat, the champs entirely in the daytime at 30 odd degrees Celsius. If you don't take care of hydration, you will have injuries. And I think I saw that at champs. So I don't know if that is a symptom of people being pushed too much, but it's a symptom of the special circumstances of champs 2021.
Okay.
So Hubert, I heard you call table tennis and I had to jump in. So it's been really good for you for coming and in the inaugural show and help us out here. And I have to thank you for that. But I couldn't let you leave without asking you a question of mine that has been, we have to test your expertise on this one, Hubert. People want to know, what does Hubert think about Sha'Carri and Shelly Ann? And what are the prospects for Olympics?
I think
Sha'Carri Shelly wins 100 meters.
She's a threat. I felt like if the Olympic Games had scheduled, that Shelly would have a very good chance of winning the third Olympic gold medal. Now that we're a year past that, it means that the older athlete, Ma Long in table tennis, they've had to keep the engine running an extra year when you're moving forward. And so Shelly has to be very careful. This girl is really, really fast. 10.72, 10.75, 10.77. This is not an accident. She's genuinely fast. She's a genuine threat to Jamaica wanting to win the gold medal again in the Olympic Games at 100 meters. Shelly's top class. She's what I call warrior class and can rise to the occasion. But this girl Richardson is a genuine gold medal threat.
Where's the money, Hubert? Where's the money?
Oh, Sha'Carri has gone home from Gateshead injured. She ran that race